My interest in guns started with going out doing some pheasant hunting, bird hunting, deer hunting with my grandfather. He was my mentor when I was young, and I didn't get to shoot the guns a lot. I got to run through the brush and scare the stuff out so he could shoot it, but it did give me a chance to be around guns and be around my grandfather and have some special memories. But it did get me interested, and I would pursue those interests later in life. I'm from Northern California, grew up in a small town, a lot of farmland. We had some property outside of town where you could do pretty much whatever you wanted. And so when we went up there, we could shoot guns, we could hunt, and run around, get a little crazy. So it was a good time. It was a good way to grow up. So I decided to go to college. I was the first person in my family to do it. I went to the University of California at Berkeley, and while I was there, I was pretty much paying my own way. So I needed to have a job, and I went to the best paying job on campus was the library. So I went to the library, they were full. Next best paying job was the police department. So I went over there, I got a job as a CSO, basically an aide, helping out. Ended up working there for about 4 years while I got my 2 degrees. I found that hanging out with the officers, their personality was very similar to mine. And I got a lot of encouragement from them. Through my years there, they recommended that I would probably be successful if I wanted to go into that line of work. And I ended up graduating with 2 degrees, one in legal studies and one in psychology, and it kind of suited the pursuit of law enforcement. So I did it, and I was happy I did. And that was 27 years ago, and I've been doing it ever since. So just like everybody, I had to go to the basic police academy. Unfortunately, in the academy, I didn't get great firearms instruction, but there were some guys in my academy who were actually pretty accomplished shooters, so I learned a lot from them. As I went through my career, I've got to do a lot of special assignments and have some really interesting times. One of the first things I did was to go into a plainclothes assignment where you had to concealed carry all the time and kind of dress up. I would dress up like a college student since I still looked young, but that kind of got me interested in the different firearms that were available, different ways of concealing them, and how to get them out quickly from concealment and shoot fast and safely. And then one of the guys kind of pulled me aside, my mentor, and encouraged me to go out for the SWAT team. So that was kind of one of those big moments, because after I made the team, things started moving pretty rapidly for me in terms of the shooting, the training. I went to SWAT school, went to advanced SWAT school, became a sniper, became a team leader, and I really enjoyed that aspect of the job, which ultimately got me involved with shooting SWAT competitions. So one of the jobs I got early on the SWAT team was being the first one through the door. The breacher would break down the door, I'd be the first one through the door. And that really got me interested in being able to shoot fast and efficiently, because when you're the first one through the door, that's generally the guy who's either drawn fire, or the bullet magnet, or the rabbit who people are trying to shoot at. So it really prompted my interest to get good at shooting. And as I did that and started to develop my skills, I got much more relaxed in that role, because I felt confident with the ability to handle the weapon. If I needed to use it, I could shoot fast and accurately. And that was a big relief. I know a lot of my coworkers, a lot of people that I've trained, have put a lot of stress, or were under a lot of stress, because they felt like they were always behind, because things happen quickly. And once you start really training hard and developing skills, getting good instruction, you get some lag time. You feel like you're ahead of the curve, as opposed to always being reactionary and trying to catch up. So the competitions for like SWAT related stuff, it was very interesting, because there was a lot of physicality in them. So you would run, you'd climb walls, you'd crawl, you'd have to do all kinds of, we do like 4 team events, 3 individual events. And what I found from that is that there'd be large teams there, large full-time teams. My department had a part-time team. We trained once or twice a month, and we'd go to the competitions. And what I found was, although our team wouldn't win, we could place well if we worked together really well. But the full-time teams that worked together every day, they were going to be really difficult to beat. But what I did find out, though, my own personal training, by getting better with my skills, I could actually win the individual competitions and the individual overall, even though I was from a smaller department that didn't have a full-time team. So at that point, I knew that training was the key. Didn't matter where you worked, didn't matter how much your training budget was, or how much people respected the name of your agency. It came down to what you had inside and how much work you wanted to put into it. During the time I was on the SWAT team, and we started doing the SWAT competitions, one of my mentors suggested that I go out and shoot a police handgun competition. which was probably the worst thing that could have happened because it was early on in my career, and I went and shot this all law enforcement match, and I ended up winning. And then I thought I was pretty special at that point because I won this match. There's probably 50, 60 people there. And I got a hard realization when the next month I went to shoot a civilian match, a USPSA match. And I did really poorly. And I found that the civilians who spent their own money, it was their hobby, their passion, their own time practicing, were much better than the average law enforcement officer, much better than I was at the time. But that sparked something inside. I wanted to get better. I wanted to learn. I wanted to be as good or better than those people I was shooting with at the range. So that started me down the road of this competition shooting, where I started off shooting handgun, and I really wanted to get the best I could be. I wanted to reach the grandmaster level because that's the top 5%. So I was able to do that in limited division as well as production division. I was fortunate enough to shoot on the Super Squad for a couple years back in the mid 2000s, and it was a fun experience seeing the best guys in the game run around, because that shooting the pistol, you really have to run on the razor's edge. And it's fun to watch, it's fun to do, and it was a really good way to get me into the competitive shooting, which ultimately led to 3-gun. So my first 3-gun match, the national championships just happened to be in Reno, which was, I want to say this was 2005. And me and my buddies, heck, we were shooting 6 guns in the SWAT competitions, and we were shooting some local USPSA stuff. So why not go to the multi-gun national champions, right? I mean, let's go put it on the line. Well, we got up there and found out that we didn't know anything about 3-gun shooting. And I didn't know how to train for it, didn't have the right gear. It was very difficult. The wind was blowing, and we had a lot of problems. I didn't finish well, and I wasn't impressed with how I dealt with the adversity on the stages, the different challenges that we faced. But what I did see, I saw some really gifted shooters like Michael Voigt, Jerry Mitchlick, and Taryn Butler shoot, and I thought, that's the way I want to shoot this game. I really enjoyed the fact that there was some variety, that you shot 3 different weapon systems rather than just one in the handgun. So I was sold on this 3-gun thing, but I needed to learn how to train. I needed to get the gear squared away, and I needed to understand what I was doing before I entered that level of competition again. So I started shooting local matches. I started getting my gear squared away. I figured out how to train. The next time I went to the national championships was in 2008, and I finished 2nd. So when I got into the 3-gun game, there wasn't a lot of police officers doing it. There wasn't really a lot of military personnel doing it. It was mainly civilians, and they were dominating, and they shot very well. So I thought, I'm going to try and get the best I can be, because I want to compete with them. And through training and hard work and really understanding the gear and how to compete, I was able to, rise up, go through the ranks, and get to where I was very competitive. And in 2010, the first match that 3-Gun Nation ever ran a shoot-off at, happened to be there. I happened to be lucky enough to finish in the top, 5 or 6 in my class and get nominated to go to the shoot-off, this new thing. And I was fortunate enough to win the very first shoot-off. I got a $5,000 check. Felt pretty good about it, and it was kind of a pivotal time, because at that point there wasn't much money. It was prize tables in the 3-gun competition, and there wasn't a lot of money. So seeing this money enter into the equation really piqued people's interest. The fact that there was a TV show associated with it even raised it more. Now it was attracting more sponsors, more money, more product on the prize tables, and it really took off from there. All right, so when I think about the difference between competitive shooting and having to use your firearm to defend yourself, whether you're in law enforcement, you carry concealed, or you're a homeowner or a business owner who carries your gun to protect yourself, it's basically tactics. And when I train for competition, I'm training for the set of tactics that gets me the best score. And when I'm in a law enforcement mindset, when I'm working patrol, when I have my pistol in my holster and my rifle in the rack, I'm thinking about tactics that are going to be beneficial to save my life and others. And I'm not going to stand there and shoot if I can utilize cover. I'm going to be able to shoot fast and efficient if that's the only cover available is my vest. I'm going to feel good about my ability to shoot my handgun and my rifle standing upright if that's all I've got. But the tactics is what's different. And the competition stuff isn't going to get you killed because it's a different mindset. When I'm on the competition range, I'm trying to get the best score. When I'm training for tactics, the shooting is an aspect of it, yes, but the use of cover, concealment, some would say that if you get face-to-face in a gunfight with no cover and that's all you got, probably use pretty bad tactics, but sometimes it's unavoidable. So I want to be the best with being able to get my gun out, hit fast and efficiently, keep it running if it runs dry or has a malfunction. And all those things I learn in competition about being fast and efficient definitely translate over to shooting in a tactical environment. The fact that I can shoot on the move, I can fight my way to cover, I can fight my way back, retreating to cover. I can get my gun out quickly in under a second out of my duty rig, my law enforcement rig, and I can fire accurately. So all those things are going to be a benefit to me, not a hindrance. I'm not going to stand out there in front of God and everybody without the use of cover. If I have the choice of using good tactics in that environment, I'm going to use it. And when I go to the competition range, it's a different mindset. And it's not mutually exclusive, okay? I don't have to have one or the other. I can have both. The one thing I'd like to add, whether you're in law enforcement or carrying concealed, or you want to train to be really good in competition, honestly, I think the key to all of it, to getting good, is dry fire. You can build up almost all the skills through multiple repetitions in dry fire. You can get good at weapon handling and manipulation. And when you get to the range, you've already got all those skills covered, and all you got to worry about is the shooting at that point. It saves you time, it saves you money. You do a little bit every day, then a whole bunch one day a week. And to me, that has been the key. It saves money, saves you time, and it really, I think it benefits you greatly.